On this episode of Coming Soon to Orlando, we are talking about a 27,000 square foot house in Winter Park from people that just came back from space. We're talking about 7,000 new houses that were just approved in the city of Orlando. We're talking about $1 billion development over in Neocity finally moving forward, and those details and so much more. Stay tuned. The first story comes out of Winter Park, Florida, and I gotta tell you, this was like a rabbit trail that I went down that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I hope you do as well. Back in 2017, 916 Park Ave was listed for $4.2 million, and it's 1.8 acres sitting on Lake Osceola. Now, for those of you who don't know Winter Park, that is a prize property. It actually closed in 2017 for $3.6 million, and the new owners of the property are Mark and Sharon Hagel, which are real estate developers here in the Central Florida area. And I was looking at the permitting process online, and it looks like the overall usage of the property was now increased so that they could build an almost 28,000 square foot house. So then I had to figure out, who are these people? And I start going through the Google process, and it turns out, yes, they are real estate developers, but they're also recently coming back from space on Blue Origin. They went on the 4th trip up into space by Blue Origin here, just not that far from us over in Port Canaveral. And you look at some of the ticket costs for this 10-minute ride into space, and it ranges anywhere from what I can find online from $250,000 to $500,000 is all of these different guesstimates based on what you find on the blogosphere. And so, I don't know, I love the story on a homegrown couple that built this big real estate development empire, building one of the probably biggest prized possessions of real estate in all of Central Florida in downtown Winter Park. Just gorgeous. Also getting to go to space over the past couple weeks. What an amazing story of a homegrown kind of couple and doing amazing things. So my question to you, answer down below, is if you had all of the money that you ever would need, would you pay to go into space? And would it be SpaceX, Blue Origin, or Virgin Galactic? The next story comes out of the Lake Nona area in the city of Orlando. And if you don't know it and you've not watched my channel ever in the past, Lake Nona is Medical City. It's also where Disney's new campus is coming. There's a lot of new jobs coming to the area. Medical City is kind of what it's been dubbed. For those of you that already know what Lake Nona is, here's the crazy thing. So it's 17 square miles in and around the airport. And we're actually going to talk about the airport in the next story. Crazy stuff there. But the amazing thing that Tavistock is doing is they've now elongated their 40-year plan for the Lake Nona area, and they've now added 7,200 more entitlements for residential in that area, bringing the total rooftops to something like 21,000 new rooftops total in the Lake Nona area. And that's everything from apartments, condos, townhomes, and single family. And they're actually pivoting some of their areas to less of a suburban feel and more of a modern urban kind of vibe as they continue to expand that Lake Nona area. And so you're going to have a lot of kind of like a city within a city in that area. I think it's very impressive to see what's kind of coming into that spot. And who thinks 40 years into the future on a lot of these developments? You've got the Sunbridge area down there that's going to be like 25, 30 years. And so it's kind of amazing to see where the growth is going to be happening in Orlando for years to come. Have you been to Orlando International lately? It's kind of a mess. There's a lot of new construction going on, but it's also busier than ever. There's flight cancellations everywhere you look, but that's really everywhere in our country right now. You have a lot of people as new people are coming internationally and just really having flight cancellations due to weather and a lot of things. But Orlando International is getting ready to improve with a new terminal that's opening up this summer. Terminal C is like a $3 billion new airport that's going to allow another 10 to 12 million people travel through Orlando. Well, the story number 3 we're talking about today is that Orlando now ranks number 7 for busiest airports in the world. Now, it doesn't outrank, say, like Atlanta, which is one of the biggest for connections, right? You've got more takeoffs and landings in Atlanta. But in terms of people flying in as a tourist, we rank number 7 for the first time ever that we've cracked the top 10. And so it's going to be interesting as the new airport opens up, even more people traveling here and what's that's going to do for our air traffic and all that kind of thing. A very smart person told me, older gentleman, that kind of talks about the significance of Orlando in Florida and then also the country, and how Orlando's kind of in the middle of the state. And so you've got a lot of people that are going to use Orlando International Airport as a hub, come here and then disseminate out sort of everything from logistics to travel to a lot of different things. And so I see that whole area really starting to take shape as you have aviation companies coming to Lake Nona. You've got sort of the whole industrial revolution of stuff coming around the airport. It's really interesting to watch and how that's going to affect our local area from a tourism perspective, but then also new jobs, new housing, just kind of everything for Central Florida. The fourth story is out of the Neocity area, and for those of you that haven't heard, the Neocity area is sort of like this tech incubation hub down in the Osceola area. It's a $1.2 billion area that's going to offer a school, well, the school already exists, plus housing, plus high-tech jobs, and it's sort of this town center area is the hub of all of this that's going on. It's in an area that you really wouldn't think of as this high-tech hub, but where they're going with it is super impressive. Now, there's plenty of things that I've talked about in the past where developers get very excited and they talk about a big game and it actually never comes to fruition. And so I look at Neocity and where it's headed, and the South Korean tech billionaire who's developing this area is finally starting to move forward with choosing developers, choosing design firms to get going on this really remarkable area. And if it does come, will revolutionize that whole entire area. So he's chosen the design firm Siame out of New York, and I'll drop a couple of the links down below. It's very impressive what they've already done, and they've finished out some massive projects. So now they've got an extension from April 1st. Now they've got 120 days to sort of come back over and say, hey, here's going to be our town center design, and hopefully that continues to move forward. I think that they've got the infrastructure there, the schools that's there. There's a new $80 million apartment building going in across the street. And so it's starting to move forward, and it'll be an interesting project to watch. If this kind of goes through, you take Neocity, you take what's going on in Lake Nona, you take what's going on in a few different other areas in the downtown corridors, and I think Orlando really does start leaning a little bit more heavily into the tech space. It'll be interesting to watch for the future. So one of the biggest things I get in the comment section of my YouTube videos is like, hey, there's so much development here, and Orlando or Florida, they're not spending enough money on infrastructure. You do feel that. Traffic is backing up in so many areas. You try to get from Deep Kissimmee to anywhere right now, and it's kind of impossible. But I started going through FDOT and where they've started allocating funds, and I found 5 or 6 other projects that equal to $1 billion in total development. You've got the widening of 91, the turnpike between the Mineola area to help open up that whole area into Claremont. You have the Sand Lake area, which they've got almost a $200 million allocation there. My friend Jeremy actually sent me this Reddit quote the other day. Shout out to you, Jeremy. And it said, need a nice relaxing cruise after work? Just head down I-4 and get off at Sand Lake exit around 6 p.m. on Friday. All you need is a little jazz, and it's guaranteed chill vibes, which is hilarious because you know that anytime you get off on Sand Lake Road off of I-4 and it's a freaking disaster. Well, they've allocated about $200 million in funds to kind of open up the whole Epic Universe area all the way up through Restaurant Row and kind of redo that interchange. And so I think that's amazing. You've got the 429 extension and the expansion. You've got the 417 expansion. There's a lot of things that are getting ready to come this year. There's already dirt moving. If you've been driving around, you know. And so I do think that traffic and infrastructure does continue to get better based on the allocations that I'm seeing in all of the permitting. So let me know down below, where do you think needs the most work here in Central Florida in regards to infrastructure? That's this week in Orlando. Make sure you subscribe to our channel as we're putting out new videos multiple times a week about life here in Florida, real estate, theme parks, life in Orlando. And if you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in Central Florida, my team and I, we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. Email me at info@pozekgroup.com and we'll get started on the journey. We'll see you guys on the next video.